Good afternoon from New Zealand, and happy Easter to all SA3 members. This Easter's message is given by Ken Finch from the United Kingdom and Ireland Territory with the help of Chelsea Purcell. We thank Ken for his message on Matthew 28 5 to 6. And just before I hand over to Ken, I want to remind you of the words of verse 3 of Song 149 in the 1987 songbook, which goes, "No more we tremble at the grave, for he who died our souls to save will raise our bodies too. What though this earthly house shall fail, the Saviour's power will yet prevail and build us up anew."
The answer, my friend, lies at the foot of the cross. The answer, my friend, lies at the foot of the cross. If you seek him today, he will show you the way, because the answer, my friend, lies at the foot of the cross. The answer, my friend, lies at the foot of the cross. The answer, my friend, lies at the foot of the cross. If you seek him today, he will show you the way, because the answer, my friend, lies at the foot of the cross.
The music you just heard are some verses I wrote for Good Friday about 3 years ago. The words are, "The answer, my friend, can be found at the foot of the cross. The answer, my friend, can be found at the foot of the cross. For if you seek him today, he will show you the way. For the answer, my friend, can be found at the foot of the cross." And the second verse, which is fairly new, is, "The empty grave, my friend, can be seen on Easter Day. The empty grave, my friend, can be seen on Easter Day. It's the way that he has to say, that my friend, I am here to stay." Then the empty grave, my friend, is how they see it on Easter Day. Today is the story of the empty tomb, and Matthew 28 5 to 6 says, "The angel said to the women, 'Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus, who was crucified. He is not here. He has risen, just as he said. Come and see the place where he lay.'" So what does the empty tomb tell us? Let's look at the women that morning. They had been there on the Friday, and they had seen the events that happened in that day. They had seen him placed on the cross with two thieves, one on either side. Yes, they deserved to die, but Jesus did not. It seemed to be the end for the 3 years that the women had travelled with him, and the disciples. How much they understood, we have no idea, but he had the answers to the questions that people had asked him. Knew of his arrest at the Mount of Olives, and had heard of the mock trial before the Sanhedrin and then by Pilate. The women had seen it as crowds who watched him taken to the place called Golgotha, the place of the skull. Whilst they heard the conversations they took place, the darkness that came upon the earth, clearly an eclipse of the sun. And whilst we understand what this is, It is no doubt frightening to the women. Their friend had died. They had seen his body taken away and placed in a hole in a rock that Joseph of Arimathea had prepared for his own body. The stone that was placed to seal the tomb, why was it necessary for a guard to be placed there? They asked. They had no chance to give the body the treatment that they would have wished to give the body of their Lord. It was the Sabbath day. They knew the law, so could do nothing except to plan for the next day. It was early in the morning, but the sun was shining in the sky. They expected to see the tomb. Would the soldiers roll the stone away so they could embalm the body? The stone was not there. And where were the soldiers? Would we have entered the tomb? We asked. The body was not there, and an angel spoke. He is not here. He has risen, just as he said. Come and see the place where he lay. Would you have done this? How much would we have seen? There are different versions in the different Gospels. Matthew says they left the tomb with fear and great joy. Mark says there's nothing to anybody but the angel who told them to tell the disciples, but his Gospel ends there. Luke, however, tells us, in their fright the women bowed down with their faces to the ground. But the men said to them, Why do you look for the living among the dead? John tells us that they ran to find John and Peter to bring them to the empty tomb. Then to see the empty tomb, but having seen the empty tomb, they went back, we assume, to the upper room. Mary Magdalene, however, stayed and had the first conversation with the risen Lord. It was a day like no other. Just imagine if we were there. What would we have done? In 2025, many things have happened. When and how did we first see and meet Jesus? In my case, I saw it in my mother, who went to glory many years ago. When as a child I would come home from school, and I was fine, there was no one there. A neighbour had no doubt come and knocked on the door for help. I lived in a close of 12 houses. My grandparents lived next door, but the other houses had an assortment of neighbours. To our left was a family of 4, and my mother was concerned that the elder daughter was not going to school. In the Corps at the time we had a social worker, and she asked him why the child was not going to school. He told her of the other child who was in a state that he could not possibly go to school at any time in the near future. Once she knew the whole story, she arranged that the first child could go to school. Further up the road lived a family who one day told their 20-year-old daughter that she was adopted. My mum told her she had been chosen. Across the road there were 2 houses where 2 young women who I can only describe as in an occupation that we associate with Mary Magdalene. And it was their life story. It was my mother who told us to take the children to juniors so that they may know more about Jesus and what he meant to them. I'm sure we all have somebody like this, but we must remember our task is to be like Jesus. As General John Gowans wrote, to be like Jesus, this hope possesses me in every thought and deed. This is my aim, my creed, to be like Jesus. The hope possesses me, his spirit helping me, like him I'll be. So, as we listen to the music, let's not forget this and keep it as aim for the future, that if we are like him, others will come to know him too.
Like
Let us finish with Song 149 in the 1987 songbook, He Lives.
O joyful sound of glorious song, when Christ by his anointed power arose and left the grave. Now let our songs his triumph tell, who broke the chains of death and hell, and ever lives to save. He lives, he lives. I know that my Redeemer lives. He lives, he lives. I know that my Redeemer lives. The first begotten of the dead, for us he rose on glorious head, immortal life to bring. What though the saints like him shall die, they share their leader's victory, and triumph with their King. He lives, he lives. I know that my Redeemer lives. He lives, he lives. I know that my Redeemer lives. No more we tremble at the grave, for he who died our souls to save